It's about as far as we've gotten at this point. Like, I'm ready. I've told her, like, I've mentioned to her, like, what about babysitting? And she's like, what? Are you insane? That's not happening. Like, okay. It's still early.
Just a heads up. Nikki Soup and Sausage not with us tonight. I just hit the go live button because I noticed you hadn't done it. So,
look at that.
Just a heads up. I know we've recorded everything for the podcast, but some of our viewers are just catching in right now. I missed the first 2 minutes.
I did forget to do that. Yes. Happy Father's Day to everybody who missed me saying that because I forgot to.
Nikki Soup and Sausage, don't ever leave us.
Man, this is why. Yeah, and this is why the Patreon people are the best, and we know we owe you guys stuff because that's something we talked about already coming into the show. All right, yeah, we haven't been together since the USA beat Mexico in the Nations League final. This one is a very. I don't know where to go. We got a little bit of MLS. There's some old babies to hand out. Absolutely one old baby that has to be handed out tonight. There's a new logo in Major League Soccer that we have to talk about, Jared.
Two, maybe.
Yes, that's true. I forgot about the other one because it happened like last week.
And we have some people that want us to compare and see what our thoughts are on both, like which one we like better. So.
Okay. There's also a guy wearing a green suit with this. What kind of drum was that?
The Lucky Charms guy?
Are you saying Matthew McConaughey is the Lucky Charms leprechaun? Is that what you're saying? Kind of needs the hat, though.
It's not. I mean, it's pretty close.
I know. And we do have we have a roster discussion. It's kind of a weird roster discussion because it's preliminary and it's a big roster and we can't tell you exactly who's going to be on the final version, but we'll get into the Gold Cup. And since we're going to be talking Gold Cup tonight, Jared, I wanted to mention, you know how you talk all the time about how I get swag and you don't get it and you're very upset at me, even though you have the Meow Wolf New Mexico United jersey and I don't have that one.
Given by a listener, a Patreon member. Shout out to Tom.
Shout out to Tom. I did get this from San Antonio FC this past week, so shout out to them. This is the training top they put out for Pride Month. Very cool. Like it a lot. I did also get something that I think you're going to be incredibly jealous of, Jared. Like I think this one is going to just boil you up. Like
you didn't get the Captain Morgan's thing from Austin, did you?
I got offered that trip, but I didn't go on that trip.
Oh, okay.
This one is going to kill you. Look at this. Official CONCACAF Gold Cup.
That looks like it's that. Okay, I'm not trying to talk crap with people that give you merch, but that looks like it's made of saran wrap.
Look at this thing.
What is ours?
I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know.
What is it made of? It looks like flubber.
So there are some. This is pretty standard. There are some teams, particularly the warm weather clubs. So your LAFCs, your Florida clubs, when they put out a scarf, they don't like to do the heavy wool. They don't like to do this stuff. This is a Philadelphia Union thing I got here.
Because there's no reason for scarf culture in Southern California.
Exactly.
Why don't we need flip-flop culture or we need like sunglass culture? Like, why aren't there more of that kind of thing going on?
Now that you mention it, I did receive free Havianas in 2010 for the World Cup. The USA versions, they broke eventually because I wore them a lot.
Those are good for the shower. Otherwise, they hurt your feet a lot.
They were not comfortable. That's true.
For Pride Month, right now, someone should have rainbows. I don't know if you know what rainbows are. Rainbows are the Cadillac of flip-flops.
I had no idea.
In your boy's opinion here.
Okay, so you're giving us some flip-flop culture knowledge. I like that.
For me, I got a top 2 of flip-flop culture, and that's rainbows at the top. Reefs number 2, leather. Don't go plastic. Get leather, folks. What are you doing with plastic?
I don't know. This is ours. Jared, is ours. This right here. This Gold Cup. Whatever this Gold Cup's going to be. This is ours. Okay.
Good luck with that, buddy.
I don't know. Old Dad FC deserves fanny pack culture.
We need barbecue aprons. That's old Dad FC culture.
That actually is a good old Dad FC move. That's true.
I think I actually pitched that the jersey for old Dad FC should look like a man wearing an apron, like a barbecue apron.
That's not bad either. Like the silhouette thing in the middle of the crest. Oh my God. Why didn't we think about this before? We're going to come back around on the old Dad FC stuff. Things have gotten a little bogged down. Summertime has hit us. Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of some of these comments that people are throwing at us. The last thing, you mentioned sunglasses. Once upon a time, I got a pair of sunglasses. Who did those come from? can't remember. I know Sean Francis sent them to me. I just don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember what that was either. Yeah, I do remember that. They were like Ray-Ban style, but they weren't real Ray-Bans. I don't think they just looked like
no, definitely not. Do you
I want to say they were like blue and yellow or something, weren't they?
They're like green and neon colors. Are you a Ray-Ban guy? Is that your move?
I have a Wayfair-ish sunglass, but it's made by a company called Hoven. It's not. It's
I have a Wayfair-ish version from Oakley. That's what my wife didn't go full Ray-Ban. She went the Oakley version.
As long as you don't have the Dale Earnhardt Oakleys, so you can't be rocking those.
No, I'm not. No.
I mean, RIP number 3, but still, like,
we will get into the Gold Cup roster, but Jared has a very interesting U.S. men's national team question to pose to the besties and to everybody listening right now.
It was birthed from watching the Nations League. You know, like some things became apparent as you watched those games. Is that there's certain people in this team that are extremely essential, or may need to be extremely essential in this next
these are the people that when COVID hit and all the offices shut down, they were like, you still have to go, you're essential personnel, right?
Yes.
Weren't you on that list? You're one of those guys,
we're
right?
Banging pots and pans at 7:30 on game night for these players right here.
Right. Okay. That's true. Applaud applause as they go by. Like everybody walks out their house at 7:30 and does that. Man, that seems like a billion years ago. When was that? Like a year, right?
I think it was 14 months ago. I mean,
Jesus. Seems like forever ago. Now we're going maskless in places, and that's weird. It feels weird to go.
It's really hard in California right now because they just changed the law last week. And so it's really like, do you do it? Do you not? Do you do it?
People giving you the eyeball? Are they giving you the eyeball?
I'm vaccinated, so I've always been consistent. Science, I will do whatever the science tells me. When science said wear a mask, I wear a mask. Now science tells me I don't have to. I'm not. But my wife and I did go to Target this weekend, and we were one of the 5% in there. Not because Target does not require you to wear a mask. I'm vaccinated. Sure. I'm being told I don't have to. There is a little bit of guilt that you have out there, but I'm also trying to set the standard because, like, okay, come on. If we're going to say it matters. And then I had the really freaky thing. I was like, what if the other 95% people in here are not vaccinated and they're actually following the law and wearing it? Then I got kind of freaked out.
Right. So that's that. I think my wife is on the I can't trust anybody wagon, and we have a 5-month-old. So for her, it's a matter of not just do it because it looks better, because it looks like you're being considerate, but also do it because we don't know what's coming the other direction, because people might be bullshitting.
I mean, I got the super blood. I'm good. You know,
I mean, I think I'm straight too. I just got my kid his second shot, feeling good about the fam. Everything is, but I did notice, I did have this moment too. Like I had some shock going into a place and seeing people wear it without masks because my brain didn't process it. But now I'm kind of like, I don't think I want to see your mouth, person that I've never seen before. I don't want to see you. Just something about your mouth. It's freaking me out.
I had a conveniently placed cold sore last week. Well, during masks still being up, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." You know, no one knows that I'm rocking the herp. You know, and so like it was a nice little herp cover.
No, you're not supposed to say things like this. Like that's just not something you should share with everybody. You should let that go and be okay. So what is the question? Essential personnel for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, top five most. And this is not the conversation of who are the top 5 best players. That is not the conversation. Right. The conversation is what are the most essential 5 players to the men's national team's success in qualifying.
I almost think that at this point, and I know, look, scored the winning penalty, drew the winning penalty, all that stuff, but this man might not make a lot of top 5 essential player lists, right?
I'll give you a sneak peek right now and tell you he is not in my top 5.
Ooh, I don't. So I'm going to do this on the fly as we go because I know you prepared this a little bit. I did want to respond to yours, and I wanted to think through it as we talked it out. Like that, I prefer that. I do think that, there are a couple of players who are going to be on every single person's list, which maybe means let's talk about the top of the list. I mean, number 1 and number 2 first before we get to the back end, because that's where things might get a little bit squirrely, right?
Sure. Yeah, I think we're going to match a lot at the top. I think the 4, 5, maybe even 3 position. There's some choices to be had here. So starting from the top, I would be just shocked if we don't match the top 2, whether or not we have in the same order or not. So for me, number 1 most essential player in the U.S. men's national team pool, Tyler Adams.
Oh no, I'm shocked. Well, okay, it's not wrong.
You didn't go with Adams?
No, I'm not going. I love Tyler Adams. I think he obviously is essential, and I have him on my list. But for me,
it's incredible.
John Brooks is number 1 on the list.
Okay, John Brooks, my number 2, and it was a tough decision here because I see
Tyler Adams,
it's a razor's edge at center back right now.
Tyler Adams is my number 2. Tyler Adams is number 2 for me.
All right, so we agree on the top 2 different ways. So for me, though, just seeing the difference in those last 30 minutes when Tyler Adams came into that Mexico game plus stoppage, plus extra time, was a different U.S. men's national team. And granted, we haven't had that culture shock of not having Brooks. So we didn't have to play these games without Brooks. So maybe it's not quite as apparent as it was with Tyler Adams.
In the past, we have. I mean, I was just thinking about
not against this meaningful competition like this.
No.
This
but
group of players.
No, but you go back to the previous generation in the previous cycle, and you talk about the loss to Trinidad and Tobago. Guess who wasn't on the field? Guess who was injured? Guess who wasn't there?
Yeah.
It was John Brooks.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Omar Gonzalez deserves all responsibility for what happened, but if John Brooks is healthy, Omar Gonzalez is not playing in that game, and he doesn't have
get an own goal in that game.
Wild own goal that set the United States up to lose. Obviously, Tim Howard was also complicit, but that's okay. Let's move on. Let's move forward. Let's not think about it. Let's go to number 3 here.
Number 3 for me, and man, I'm gonna put Weston McKennie here at number 3.
That's my choice too. Like I don't
think this is
have
chalk.
any issue
and
with that.
we thought top 3 would probably be chalk. It was just an issue of order, right?
Yes.
Now I think Weston McKennie, what he gives to both sides of the ball, I think is more important to the U.S. national team than Christian Pulisic or Gio Reyna. I really do, because in Brendan Aronson, you have a player that can factor in the same way as Christian Pulisic. Not the same player, not as good.
Yeah, sure. I got you.
The team doesn't have to change. And that's kind of what I think about when I think about these players, is that you have to really change how this team operates if one of these players is out. And I don't think the team changes the way it operates if Christian Pulisic is out. You play Brendan Aronson instead. If Gio Reyna's out, you probably play Tim Weah or something like that there.
Well, I don't know. Then explain to me how you're going to get to 5. Now I'm kind of curious how you're going to get to 5, because that's only 3. There's 2 more spots, and we're talking about essential here.
And here's where people are probably starting to get pissed at me, because I've taken some liberties here in my choices.
Okay.
And
all right.
listen, I have an honorable mention here. I'll just go and throw it out there right now. Aaron Long should have been on this pit list. It's possible that Aaron Long should have been on this list.
That's not crazy.
Because
crazy.
I think Mark McKenzie, while having a couple errors that he's admitted to and talked about, I think has done pretty well in service, just being asked to jump into very meaningful games at a high level.
Real quick, shout out to Mark McKenzie, who I don't really know, but I have interviewed before. I've had Mark McKenzie on my radio show. Do you?
Great chops. He got great
chops. Do you know about my radio show?
Oh, I haven't heard you.
One I have. Yeah, I've been off the air. I'm coming back though tomorrow. Mark McKenzie, I took part in the I think it was the last of the Zoom union happy hours this past Friday.
Yeah.
I think it was the last one that they're doing because COVID is finally breaking up. And Morgan invited me. Shout out to Morgan. By the way, Morgan doing work down in about to get ready to go to Florida for her new job. Shout out to Morgan working for USL. But Mark McKenzie was there. He showed up. He was talking to all the union fans. And somebody said, I had a shirt. I bought a shirt, Jared, that has the picture from the Mexico game.
Oh, I saw that. It had the parental advisory and stuff.
Yeah, it had parental advisory on it. Tifiosi Football is the one selling that. And I wore it to that Zoom, and I said, Mark, where are you, Mark? What? You're not here. And he's like, man, that's a long run. That's a long run to the corner flag.
At least he's honest, dude. There's a lot of guys that play up front there.
At altitude. He's like, at altitude, that's a long run.
So I guess even for a penalty, he's not that far up the field. It's not like a set piece where he goes forward. He's staying back for the.
He's still got to be back for the counterattack opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, but listen, there's a VAR review too. He should be rested. There's a VAR review. They tried to ice the kicker.
It was like the 114th minute. What are you talking about? Come on. It was a long ass game. All right, so
I'm just saying, when Landon Donovan scored against Algeria, Jay DeMerit was on top of the pile. I'm just saying, okay?
That's true. That's true.
He did a roller over the top, right? Or was that Josie? I think it was Jay DeMerit.
I think that was Jay DeMerit. Let's give Mark a pass though. Yeah. It was at altitude, not the case in South Africa.
There's a couple of times he did some fantastic one-on-one defending. I'd like to go back. I wish we could bring the video into the show, but there's a couple of times in particular where I thought he did very well. So honorable mention to Aaron Long. Could make the list if you wanted to.
Okay.
So we're matching top 3, just a little bit different positioning. Number 4, and this is where it's going to get weird. Okay.
Uh-oh.
That's the person
like
I
how
put
weird?
Here. Give me a second. He is perhaps the person most essential to develop into the player we need is Anthony Robinson.
That's not. No. That's not essential. You can't.
We essentially need a left back, dude. We essentially need a left back. It is important that Anthony Robinson develops and it can be a starting left back for this team.
I would love for Anthony Robinson to be the complete left back that we need for the national team. But if you're saying we're playing at the Azteca tomorrow, is Anthony Robinson on your list for most essential players in that game? I don't know.
Did the U.S. defense look good on the left-hand side in either of these two games?
No, I'm going to say no, but I also think that that's because you were playing a guy who plays. When we say modern fullback, that means a player who can cover the flank, gets up the field, participates in the attack, is dangerous that way. I think Sergiño Dest is an ultra modern fullback. He's like on a different planet as a fullback. Obviously, the Mexico they played a 5-man back line. It's a completely different thing, but he's like, I don't know, new modern. I don't know what it is. He doesn't seem to play any defense, right? So you're saying that Anthony Robinson is more essential than a player like Sergiño Dest because we need him to be the answer at left back.
I think Sergiño Dest is honestly hard to be essential in this team till he can play right back and not have to worry about defensively what's happening on when he goes forward. And now there's a huge question around, in my mind, around Sergiño Dest and what role he plays, because Anthony Robinson needs to become essential in this team.
It's a really weird way to go. I don't think Anthony Robinson makes my list. I'm going to go Gio Reyna here. I know you said we can plug somebody else in, whatever, but I think Gio Reyna brings a little bit of I don't know. There's a bit of extra level knowledge, and I think that's necessary. Like, you can have a Christian Pulisic on one side, but if you don't balance him out with somebody who is as tricky and as dangerous, then the opposing defense can kind of key on one guy. And I think Reyna could also get into the box, win a penalty, create his own opportunity, create a shot, score a goal. I mean, obviously he was in the right place at the right time against Mexico, but I think beyond that, off the dribble, doing things that are saucy, that's what Gio Reyna brings, and that's why
I know he's kind of saucy in these two games, but do you really think that's his normal style? Saucy?
Yes. Gio Reyna? Yes. I do think that's his style.
You watch him at Dortmund, you think he's saucy?
No, I think he doesn't have to be as saucy in that team because he has Erling Haaland and Jadon Sancho and all those players around him. But I think he can be that player.
I'll say this, though, about your point when you were talking about Anthony Robinson and the defense, stuff like that. If Tyler Adams is playing and starting, both Dest and Anthony Robinson's lack of defense becomes less important.
Less of a problem, sure. I still think you have to balance.
Which is another reason why Adams should be number one on your list.
I think if do you think that if Adams was completely healthy to start the game against Mexico, that Berhalter would have even considered the 3 center backs in the 5-man back line? Do you think he would have done that? Because I don't think he would have.
There's a lot of pressure about playing this fad of a lineup. I don't know, man. People have been talking about it like the 2 weeks leading up to the game. It was like being talked about. Maybe it's only being talked about because Adams had the injury, but I really think it's not a good look for us. We don't have the center backs for it, man. We don't have the center backs for that lineup. Tim Ream, dude.
No, I know Tim Ream. I mean, I think the problem that when you play that system with wingbacks is that you kind of need a hybrid player especially at the left spot, maybe the right spot too, but you need a hybrid. And Aaron Long is that player.
Yes.
Aaron Long is an incredible athlete. He's got wheels on him. Yeah. So if he's playing that right fullback position, okay, you're good. John Brooks is in the middle, marshalling everything as a sweeper.
I'm worried if he still has wheels when he comes back from that Achilles. That's a tough
we don't
injury.
know. What I'm saying is that in a perfect world, in the imaginary perfect world of the U.S. men's national team, Aaron Long is healthy. John Brooks is in the middle, and you're playing somebody else. I don't know who that is, right? It's not Matt Miazga. Maybe it's Mark McKenzie, but he's a right-footed player, so you do have to worry about a little bit. I mean, that's not the end of the world. You can defend both ways. But
real quick, I have a thought. To go back on the McKinney at number 3 for me, one thing we didn't talk about, he might be the best set-piece header that we have. He is really good at losing a mark and finding space on set pieces.
The guy's incredible on set pieces.
Not since Carlos Bocanegra, I think we've had a player like that.
Yeah, he's the guy has hops on him. He's incredible, and he's got
he often has a smaller marker too because he's a smaller guy. So the trees are taking care of Brooks.
Weston McKinney's 6 foot. Weston McKinney's 6 foot tall.
6 foot.
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong about that. He plays so big. Maybe I just have this wrong.
Someone in the chat fact check that, man.
Somebody fact check my height check.
All right, so your number 4 is Gio Reyna. Okay, now number 5. Now this is gonna get people hot. Okay. And the reason I put the
no. Tell me. I'm ready.
All right, for me, I'm picking this because Brett Berhalter has told us this basically.
Okay.
Sebastian Lletget is probably the number 5 most essential person on this team.
Jay Rodius.
And the reason you're frustrated right now is because you see my point without me even making it. Because Sebastian Lletget is the only player on this team that will fill in at 4 to 5 different positions on the field for Berhalter.
Okay, I guess, man. But here's the thing: if the way that I think about this, Eli's helping us out here. That Weston McKennie is 6 foot tall, so your boy's got the information.
Yeah,
I don't know what's
lying. They're measuring the hair. He's got 2 inches of hair. They're counting.
He does have a lot of hair. That's true. I won't deny that. That is the move. If you can grow your hair out to get a little bit of height. I once dated a girl who said,
"I'm doing the same thing right now."
I won't date anybody under 5'11", and she was like 5'2", and I was like, "What? What do you?"
Yeah, that's high maintenance. I hope you didn't go out with her.
It didn't last very long.
Yeah, I can tell you.
Okay, so my thing here is that my thinking is essential means if that player is injured, the U.S. men's national team suffers greatly. It makes them a significantly different team in a way that makes them less. And I understand you're responding to what Berhalter has said, and I do agree that Sebastian Lletget does a lot of good things. But man, I still think that if you put Yunus Musa in that spot, the U.S. isn't suffering for lack of Sebastian Lletget. Am I wrong here?
Really?
Am I wrong?
Who's the first sub every game? Who's the first person that rotates into a starting lineup every time a person's out in the midfield or front 3? It's Sebastian Lletget, dude.
Yeah, okay, but I don't know. Okay. I was wondering where you're going to go with this.
Basically, he's the U.S. national team's 6th man of the year. True or false?
No, that's fine.
Is the 6th man of the year not essential to a team in basketball?
Yeah, I guess so. In a world of 5 substitutes, I don't know when that's going to stop. In a world of 5 substitutes, yeah, I guess you have a point. I mean, you're running out of positions, right? So unless you're going to pick,
he's even in the Gold Cup squad. Like the guy's bringing him into everything.
This is where so before the show, Jared goes, one of my essential players is on the Gold Cup preliminary roster.
That's exactly how I said. That's exactly how I said it. It was more like, dude, even one of my guys is on the Gold Cup roster.
Sebastian Lletget is totally important, brah.
Beat me then. What's your 5th, you Mr. Big Shot?
Okay, like I said, I hadn't really thought this through, so let me think about it a little bit. Obviously, look, I would agree that Aaron Long would be in the mix if he was healthy. He's clearly not, so it's kind of hard to pick him. Look, I'm going to put – I know he wasn't great. I know he had
this is a great
moments.
way to start a topic.
I think Sergiño Dest is on this list because he's such a potentially game-changing player that you have to account for him. Like there, and Pulisic, by the way, should be in this conversation too. And I could easily pick Christian Pulisic. I just think that you can mark Pulisic out of the game. You can knock him off the ball. You can be rough with him, and maybe it affects him. I think Sergiño Dest, from the position that he plays, and if you deploy him correctly, is such a potentially game-changing player that you will freak defenses out when he's on the field.
Okay, now honestly, I was thinking about putting Dest in my lineup, but if I was being honest with myself, Anthony Robinson, that's why I put Anthony Robinson in, because I didn't feel I could put Dest in because there's such a vacuum around him in terms of the left back, right back thing, and the last 2 games made me feel we won with him getting subbed out basically at halftime. Like, the dude got taken out so early in that Mexico game because he was ineffective, and we still won. How is he that essential? And over 2 games, he didn't look good at all, and we won both of them.
Well, that's
my same thing about Pulisic. The dude scored a PK at the end, but we literally didn't say his name for 90 minutes.
This is true. That's true. I think what this is about more than anything is that there are several positions on the field where the clear choice starter is not yet established. Like, again, you may feel like you have to get Dest on the field, but that doesn't mean that he, in every situation, based on his deficiencies defensively, he needs to be there somewhere. Like, you feel like you have to, but you also make a choice, right?
I might make the argument that Dest doesn't start at the Azteca. Because in a game where you're going to be on the defense a lot of the time, and you're going to have to be defensively solid in an environment like that, in a World Cup qualifying game at the Azteca, is Dest really the right defensive fullback you want on either side?
I could see that situation. Again, Greg Giga.
If you don't have Taylor Adams, I don't think you start Sergiño Dest in that game. If you have Taylor Adams, I think you start. And that, to me, is why he's not as essential. Because you can actually see that scenario playing out.
Yeah. We can't go with the goalkeeper. There's
not
Steph
after this game.
He can't be the essential, especially with By the way, Ethan Horvath, the coldest dude on the planet. Did you see the video? Did you see the behind the crest thing?
I saw the 10-minute. That was the first time I ever seen any personality from him at all. Was at the end of that video. I watched him. I watched him on Sports Center. I was like, "Whoo, man! Does he have an accent? Did he pick? Does he got a Friedel accent?"
I think he picked up an accent in Europe. Yeah, he's from Colorado.
I was like, "This dude's from Colorado."
Yeah, my parents are from Colorado. There's not pretty standard, like flat, not even like a Midwestern thing.
I was happy though. The behind the crest, by the way, that behind the crest video was fantastic. I've been talking for a while about US Soccer doing better job with their media, and I still think there's someone just in the Slack earlier today was talking about the women's, how they're doing a much better job personality wise on the media side, bringing out the personalities of their players. And they're right. The men's side is not doing that, but they are doing some pretty good high level finished product. And I think the 10-minute behind the crest video, if you haven't watched it, go out and watch it. Amazing. You get really good behind the scenes in the locker room. And I love the way he ended that. You actually saw some fire and personality from him, and I was happy to see that.
Look, I mean, I was wild. And look, I'm not sure I've ever talked to Ethan Horvath. I'm pretty sure I have, but I can't be positive. I don't know the guy. I mean, obviously he's still a young goalkeeper. He's growing, but it was wild to see him like build up to that, right? Like he's standing there with his hands behind his back when they award Mexico the penalty kick. He hands who the penalty kick?
Herrera. No, Guardado.
Guardado. He handed Guardado the ball, which is just, I mean, the cojones, right? The huevos on him to do that. Like, here you go, sir. I'm going to stop your penalty kick now. And then he does it. And then the locker room again, they give him the game ball.
Yeah.
And Berhalter saying, you must think I love goalkeepers, give them game balls all the time. And that moment where he kind of exploded, like, we beat Mexico. Like that, maybe more than anything else we saw. The picture, the parental advisory thing we talked about already, the celebrations, the joy, the energy, that kind of speaks to what this meant for this group. Right, that a guy who's normally that much of a wallflower, who's not a vocal dude, exploded in that moment. Knowing cameras were on him too, like that takes a lot to kind of get over that and recognize, you know what, I'm going to do something that might make me embarrassed, to feel embarrassed, but whatever. We did this thing as a group. We did this thing.
I think what instantly became apparent at the end of that game is that there's a keeper battle. There's a keeper battle now.
There might be a keeper battle. I mean,
it's going to be heavily influenced on where they both end up come fall. Because if one of them's starting, that is a leg up on the other one instantly. And I think we're seeing there's not that much difference between the two. And I'll say, you and I have both had before, Zach Steffen is far too casual for my liking. I get that Horvath is cold, and I'm okay with that. I can deal with cold. Steffen is casual, and that makes me nervous, dude. It makes me super nervous.
I kind of agree with that. I will say that I don't know that I think Ethan Horvath is the answer, but it does give you reason to think that there might be a battle there.
Where is it then?
Maybe it's in the Gold Cup. So let me transition. Did we get all through? I have my full top five.
You didn't give me your five, I don't think.
I said I picked Reyna instead of
last. Oh, you said Dest. I'm sorry, you said Dest.
And I picked Dest. So that my five would be.
Yeah, way to go on a limb.
What? You said essential. That's not like who are the most potentially amazing players that we don't know are going to be good yet. Like you didn't create a big gap here between. Anyway, let's go to the Gold Cup, right? Because one of your guys is on the Gold Cup preliminary roster. That's
how essentially is. Need them on both teams.
60 players deep, right? It's a big one, and it's not going to be. It's going to be winnowed down. We're going to know. I think end of June,
30th, I believe is
30th. So we've got another week and a half before we get this final roster. I'm going to go through this. We're not going to pick the 23 because I can't imagine.
I'm not going to stop you because I think you just. Do you want me to? Do we want to stop and top anyone on the way, or do you want to get through it? Because that's a lot.
No, it is. I don't want you to spend 5 minutes on any player, but I want you to tell me. Just are you surprised to hear this name?
How about this? How about I do weak or strong in terms of making it?
I mean, you can do that if you want to. All right, I'm fine with that. We can play. It can be a little Marco Polo, right? Who's in the pool? Like this is the big pool, but who do you think is maybe
it's an Olympic-sized pool?
Yeah, this is an Olympic-sized pool. We're trying to get it down to more like a backyard pool, like a Jerry Dubois.
I'll say in the pool or fish out of water. That's my two for these guys.
The what?
They're either in the pool or fish out of water. If I think they're going to make it or not.
Fish out of water. Okay,
you don't play Marco Polo in your life?
Yes. I know. If you leave the pool, you're fish out of water. I get it. Okay. Let's start with Josie Altidore. Just do it alphabetically. Josie Altidore.
I think he's in the pool, and not necessarily because he's the best striker, but because I think Berhalter needs a couple veteran leaders to show the way. And if he impresses, he's back in the conversation.
I could see that logic holding true. Okay, Frankie Amaya is number 2 on the list.
In the pool.
Okay, I mean, midfield options, number 6.
Yeah.
You need a number 6. You're trying to figure it out.
Talent.
Julian Vicente Araujo.
In the pool.
In the pool. Okay,
starter for this.
You like him.
It depends if Reggie Cannon comes or not, because Cannon's all not to tip the lead, but Reggie Cannon on this list too. Who knows if he's really he played minutes. He played good minutes in the Nations League.
He did.
Maybe he comes, maybe he doesn't. If he doesn't come, I think Araujo is the starting right back.
I think this guy's almost a lock, and Paul Areola. I think he's almost a lock.
Lock.
Yeah. Corey Baird.
Fringe.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know that we put him on that giant list that Taylor and I did.
If we get RSL Corey Baird, cool. You get LAFC Corey Baird, I'm not sure you're.
By the way, this is a good point from Morgan. Josie Altidore is a man in limbo right now. Like, what is his deal? Are we even sure he has a team to play for in Major League Soccer or anywhere for that club team? So that's what worth pointing out about Josie Altidore.
Berhalter wouldn't be the first guy to bring a guy to camp to showcase him.
Okay, that's true. Let's see. Cole Bassett.
I think fish out of water. Cole Bassett.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he may. I think he might be in. I don't think he might have been in the mix. Not the final. I don't know. George Bello.
I think it's still a little.
How many left backs are you taking?
Vines. You're taking Sam Vines.
At the bottom, we'll get to him.
I can't remember who else is in.
I think George Bello is in the mix. I think he really is.
Okay. All right.
Gianluca Busio.
In the mix.
Yeah. Gianluca Busio. Saw another conversation about him online today or yesterday. I think it was Adam Bells from Scuffed. Shout out to Scuffed. Send some of your listeners our way, Adam. Help us out. He was saying, like, he thinks Gianluca Busio should get a medium hard look at the number 6 spot if we're going to be giving Jackson Ewell the look that he just got.
Man, I just feel like I just don't think everyone keeps saying he's a 6, and to me, I just don't see him as a 6. He's too good going forward.
He's a playmaking 6. I mean, he was spraying the ball this weekend.
That's an 8.
No, it's not, because he doesn't have to cover the ground forward. You're looking for him to be more deep lying. I mean, that's how Michael Bradley used to play. We're talking about Michael Bradley.
I just don't know that he has the defensive bite that I want from a 6.
Okay, well, that's the thing. Defensive.
But I love him going forward. I like him more as an 8.
But you do like flexibility. That's a thing that you've talked about a lot, right?
Yeah, but not always at that position. That position is one because you have so many jobs. There's so many jobs there of coverage, especially if you're going to play a 4-3-3. Or if you're going to play a 5-man or 3-man back line, it gets even more intense. Do you really want Busio back covering the left back position? Is that where you want him?
I think he can learn on the job. But let's move on. Reginald Jacob Cannon.
I obviously he's in this team if Berhalter wants to take him. I actually kind of hope they rest him. He just he went through an MLS season, straight into Portugal, straight into Nations League. I think he needs a rest.
Yeah, I think this is not because he's not good enough. Obviously he is. It's because
the only reason I would say you bring him is if he's hardcore shopping for another team, and that's what's being said out there. Maybe you give him some marquee minutes.
Johnny Football, Johnny Cardoso, Johnny Soccer, whatever we're calling him. I'm sorry. That's not the one. I hate this one.
Guy. Yeah, I'm not a big Cardoso guy, man. I'd rather see Busio just for the experiment factor.
So Johnny Cardoso is another one, just briefly. One of these guys that nobody really knows. And I haven't watched a bunch of Brazilian football to know how he works down there in Brazil. But to me, he screams number 6 and like a destroyer, not a passer, not a link player, just a destroyer. Like, a guy who's going to cover ground and get stuck in. Which, by the way, you might need too. But I think a lot of people think he's more than that. Clearly, Jason Christ thought he was more than that. The Olympic team thought he was more of an 8, a player who was going to be more a Busio type of player.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it yet. And so maybe it's there, but I haven't seen it. Yeah.
I mean, with you on the list and Busio also on the list, I don't think he beats out either of those guys for the addition at that role.
But if he's not competing with them, he's competing for the 8-10 role, then it's a different question. And that's where things get weird. All right. The next guy on the list is Cameron Robert Carter Vickers. I'm going to do all the names because they have them here.
Yeah, I think we need to see as many center backs as we can, especially once they're playing into Europe.
Okay, I could see him making this team, but I'm going to say this again because his name always comes up. The dude cannot pass the ball from the back. He cannot. That is not his game. He is a good a physical defender, right? He's a good. I think he maybe has improved his positional defending since I last saw him, but he is not. He's not the player that Berhalter wants back. He's not John Brooks. He's not even Aaron Long. So I don't know what Carmen Carter-Vickers is supposed to do in this team. That's my concern. You sacrifice a lot with the ball at his feet.
I don't know at the center back role how many other guys are in this list that you're going to think are better defenders.
That's a good question.
Now, if you want to say he's not a good passer, I don't. He's the top center back. I think now Walker Zimmerman's top in this list, but second best center back in this list. So I think he's for sure going.
All right, Justin Che, who is a kid, a baby, as a matter of fact, and we just found out he's not going to Bayern Munich permanently.
Yeah,
to stay with Dallas. They're going to work something out eventually, but right now he's a Dallas player.
Yeah, I think Che goes. I think you want to see what he can do. I mean, obviously he was hanging out with the full national team at the Nations League. You know, he was practice player. I think he's in this team.
Okay. Caden Clark.
For sure.
Another kid.
You think this kid needs to be given the keys? This kid.
Oh, really? You're that high on Caden Clark?
If when you look down this list, who's the guy you want to run the offense when you look at these names?
Well, what position is that? And a 4-3-3. What is that?
Oh man, that's a tough. 4-3-3.
To me, Caden Clark sounds more like a Brendan Aronson clone. Not a clone. I mean, he's not the same.
Yeah, but I think he likes to be more central than Brendan Aronson does. You know,
he does because that's how they play him at Red Bull. But he's not going to get that spot.
But we haven't seen him at that spot, any other spot. We haven't seen what he can do at the top of a 4-3-3.
Well, and you could say this about Brendan Aronson. Played more central in Philly. Played more central. Well, I had to go look at the numbers, but played some central with Red Bull Salzburg. But obviously, he's a wing player for the national team
too. He was wide for them too.
Okay, all right. Let's see, Cade Cowell, which is another interesting.
Bring him. I think you want to see these guys.
Okay, I have to take every opportunity to do that. Let's see, Daryl DK. There's no question.
For sure, I want to see starting minutes. If he's not getting starting minutes after the time he spent with the Nations League, stole a medal, awesome. And if he's not starting, then I'm wondering what did he do wrong at the Nations League.
Okay, we're going to move a little bit more quicker down this list now because I just looked at the clock. Kyle Duncan, who continues to be in the mix.
Not out. I mean, I think he's on the outside. Fish out of water.
Jeremy Abobasi.
Yeah, I mean, I want to just for the sole fact that we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. This is
how
the
many
opportunity.
Center forwards on this list? How many center forwards are you taking? That's the thing.
You know he can play wide in that front 4-3-2. He's done it.
Okay, Jesus Ferreira, another player who can maybe do a couple things.
Berhalter loves him. He's in. Berhalter loves him.
I feel like we're running out of spots, but again, we're not going down.
We're going rough. We're going rough.
In general. Yeah, Leo Flack.
Okay, the MLS soccer fans have never had a bigger hard-on for any player.
That's not true. You can't say something like that.
This dude has got a rocket in the genes of every MLS fan right now.
We've lived through the big soccer wars. How can you possibly say something like he's the biggest? That's not even.
Listen, I'll say this:
true.
This dude is like Viagra for Philly fans. I mean,
for Philly fans, I get that. Yes, Leon Flack. Sorry, let me get that right. Okay. The Philly fans are up in arms down in the chat.
Listen, I hope the Rocket's strong. I really do.
This one is, again, it feels like Berhalter just carried some names forward that used to be in the mix, but haven't been, at least on the brains of American soccer fans. Chase Gasper is here. Not that he's a bad player.
Gasper's issue is how much of it is Minnesota's fault and how much of it is his.
Okay, that's fair. Nicholas Giacchini.
I'll be lying if I told you I know how well he's done in France lately. I have no idea.
I think we're running out of center forward
so many
spots.
forwards. I'd rather see other guys. I've seen him.
Jonathan Gomez.
Okay, again, I don't know sure which rocket is higher in people's genes right now. If it's Jonathan Gomez or Flack, but Flack, whatever you want to say.
You're saying you don't want USL players in your team? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm fine with that. Look at the Jordan Morris experiment. We put a college guy in and ended up being a star. So I don't have any problem with that. I think you play. Okay. I'm the guy that wants to pull from the third division in Germany because the player's hot. Why not pull from St. Louis?
By the way, that's Leon Flock, or at least he kind of comes from that world, and you're poo-pooing him because Philly fans are all upset.
I'm not poo-pooing him. I'm just saying that he's very, very high on people's lists right now.
Okay. Morgan pointing out that Jonathan Gomez is also obviously a dual national, could play for Mexico. He's a young left back, and we just got done talking about left back being a problem.
And plus, this is a huge disc golf related thing I want to happen because Jonathan Gomez is the guy who owns Jomez, which is the best YouTube channel for disc golf. Jomez.
Those are two different. You can't.
Just love having a Jomez. I'm gonna call him Jomez, just so you know. If he gets to the tee, I'm calling him Jomez.
I have no problem with you calling him Jomez. I'm just saying that's not even remotely the same person by any stretch of the imagination. Julian Green is on this list. Julian Wesley.
This is guy that a lot of people want to see right now. So I think Green is in. They want to see if he's worth the hype from that promotion campaign that just went on in Germany.
Ooh, okay.
I don't want to see the hairline, but I want to see him.
I like the story, but I don't know. You did say that they did he picked up the mojo of Landon Donovan when we replaced him in the 2014 World Cup team,
he
and
stole
therefore
it. I said he
the hairline.
Stole it. Yeah. Listen, American technique comes with consequences, and it's frolics.
All right, Brad Guzan.
Sure.
I mean, just for the experience of it.
Listen, and also, are we really that convinced on Stefan or Horvath? You know, if one of those two got injured, I think Guzan is instantly the third keeper.
All right, how about Bill Hamid then?
I just think Bill Hamid has never been able to step up with consistency. I shouldn't say that. He's never been able to consistently impress a coach other than a DC United coach.
Yeah, he hasn't been consistently healthy. He's obviously been kind of vocal, which I hate that people maybe get dinged for that, but at times it's been a problem for him.
And I think he takes a hit because he went to Europe and came back real quick, and no one really understands why.
Okay, I don't think Zach Steffen did that too, and then got back to Europe. It's happened. It's not like the end of the world, but sure, why not? Matthew Hoppe is on. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Aaron Herrera is on this list.
Yeah, I think I think that might be the potential starting goalkeeper on this list here. Third keeper.
Aaron Herrera is a right back who plays for.
I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm thinking the wrong person. I apologize. I'm thinking of the RSL keeper. I don't know what I'm doing.
You're talking about David Ochoa, but Matt Turner's up, and people are going to freak out over Matt Turner too. Eli's going to say Matt Turner needs to be the starter for this team, and I will agree with Eli when we get there. Okay, anyway, Aaron Herrera I think is fringy. He was on the Olympic team. Who knows? Matthew Hoppe I think is fringy. I wouldn't mind seeing the kid, but we've already got 3 center forwards we've been talking about. Where's he going to play? How are you going to use him? And he's also a player who might need a move.
I want to bring all the forwards. So you want to play
the old the old WM formation with 5
I don't care if they
forwards?
all play. I just want to see them all in camp. Bring all the forwards.
Sean Johnson.
I guess we got to take 3. So okay, I think that experiment's passed as well.
Okay. Wesley's pointing out that Greg Berhalter had Hoppe playing as a winger. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of that. I want a guy playing center forward off the back shoulder, but it's fine, whatever.
Hoppe does what Berhalter likes, which is industry from the front, defending from the front.
Henry Kessler, whose full name is Frederick Henry Kessler, sounds like he should be
storming. Love me some Henry Kessler for my money.
Storming an Austrian castle somewhere.
for my money, maybe the best center back on this roster. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me.
Ooh, that is a tasty take right
there.
Love
me some Kessler.
That is big time. You're stepping way out on that one. Okay.
New England's first place, right?
Obviously you put him in the mix if you think he's that good. Jonathan Lewis, who has always been a Berhalter guy.
One last thing on Kessler. If Turner's the starter, don't you want that connection? That connection's doing damn well in MLS right now.
No, I don't worry about that. Because, it's fine.
Yeah, chemistry means nothing, I guess.
No,
communication means nothing.
It means something, but I don't think you go, we're going to bring Henry Kessler because we like Matt Turner. I don't think you do that.
He's that good, too. But if you're picking between Cameron Carter-Vickers and Kessler...
I take Henry Kessler over Cameron Carter-Vickers every single time, but that's not because Matt Turner's back there. That's because
he's starting duo here then, Zimmerman and Kessler?
It could be. Let's go right on the rest. There's another name that's going to come up that I think might be in that mix.
I know which one you're going to say.
Let's see. John Lewis, Sebastian Lletget, Sebastian Francisco Lletget.
He's going if Galaxy release him. He's already given him up for a lot of games.
I just
heard
lose
somebody World Cup qualifying.
Pronounce his name differently, and I don't.
What?
I know that maybe we're not right. Lletget or Lletget? I don't even know.
Pulisic.
Yeah, okay, but
it might be right, obviously I get it. Says it.
He might be pronouncing correctly, but he kind of let us get away with it, so it's all good. Tim Melia is on this list. I don't think that's possible, but I guess it's good he's getting recognized.
Yeah, not for me.
Okay. Let's see. Rubio Rubin.
Isn't that dead?
What do
I
you mean
guess he
dead?
has.
Like,
Well, wasn't he going to play for Guam or something like that?
he was going to play for El Salvador
Can he still make a switch again?
or Guatemala. Can't remember
I
which
can't
one.
remember. He has one more switch in him or not.
That's bad. I should know which one it is. Somebody tell me. Is it Guatemala or El Salvador? That's my bad. He'd have to make a switch to play for somebody else because he's been a youth international for the Americans. So he's in the mix. I think this is a nod of saying, hey, we're looking at you, even if they don't bring him. We're looking at you. Don't give up on us
Speaking
yet.
of guys that are in dual national kind of situations, it's kind of a miss that we don't have Alex Roldan competing for this squad right here, and that he chose to play for another team. Like, I don't think we did our due diligence. Because, I'm not a big Christian Roldan fan, but I like Alex
Roldan is on that level. I don't know. Okay. By the way, it's Guatemala. Thank you very much to Jonathan for helping us out on that. It's for Rubio Rubin. Georgi Mihailovic.
Sure. I
Okay.
mean, he's always had a chance. I mean, I think he's close to making this team. I don't think he's been as impressive with Montreal as we once thought he was going to be when he was at the Chicago Fire.
I don't like the way they play. That's part of that.
I'm
too.
not sure about I think he's fringe.
How about Shaq Moore?
I didn't know he was still around. I haven't heard so much about it. He's playing in Turkey
Well, you thought
or
he
something?
stopped playing soccer? No, he's at Tenerife apparently.
Okay.
You thought he stopped playing soccer? I think they're in the second division in Spain.
When's the last time you heard about him?
No, it's been a while. I'll admit that that did feel weird that he was on this list, but we have to move on quickly. Chris Mueller is here. Cash Money.
Love
Cash Money Mueller. You want to put him in the mix? No, but you don't think he's been
I think he's
passed by
fringe.
like four?
I think he's fringe.
Okay, that's interesting. Moses Nyman, who I bet you don't know a lot about.
Never saw that name before.
He is like 16. He plays for DC United. He is
I love
apparently
the
the
sexy.
truth.
I love
He
the
is the
young
truth.
sexy.
I don't know if he's going to make this team, but in fact, I don't think
If we're
he's going to
bringing
make
that
this team.
6-year, how come we're not bringing like Paxton Aronson?
Paxton. Oh yeah, it's a good question. More minutes for Moses than Paxton at this point.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
And here's the one here's the defender you were thinking of. I think.
No,
right?
Eric Palmer Brown is not the one I was thinking of. No, not at all. I don't know how I feel about him anymore. Don't know what his next step is. I'm going to say no.
He's not playing
on that
enough.
Well, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong. I did it twice. There you go. You don't get G-Funk, Mr. Palmer Brown. Kevin Paredes, who just had himself a day for DC this weekend. People like him a lot. It's another forward. I don't think you can take another forward, but
he's listed
there
as a
it is.
defender here. That's weird.
Kevin Paredes?
Yeah.
Is he listed as a defender? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he is listed as a defender. Maybe I'm thinking about somebody else. So, okay, well, if that's the case, we don't really know if Kevin Paredes is going to make the list, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's a forward, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this is about then.
Okay. Midfielder, forward. He's listed as a defender. Maybe they think of him as a fullback option. I do not know. That would be weird to me. All right, let me go back to the list and tell you about Ricardo Pepi. I don't think so.
Not
young,
yet.
talented, but he's not there yet. Let's see. Andres Perea.
I think he's coming. I think he's coming.
You do?
I do. Berhalter likes him. He guy made a switch for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm. Callan Acosta.
Oh God.
Just after the Nations League experience, probably doesn't need the time.
I don't think he needs the time. I also am not sure if he's the best option there. I think there's other kids here that deserve. We've seen so much of Callan Acosta already. Do you need to see more of him, or would you rather see Callan Acosta, or would you rather see Pereira?
I guess Perea. I guess at the Gold Cup. Yeah, I guess Perea. Yeah.
Would you rather see him or Busio?
Busio, for sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Moving along.
That too.
Donovan Pines, who is definitely a full center back for DC United. What do you think about Donovan? I was surprised by his name.
I think there's enough other center backs that you want to see that are closer, and that position's so important. You got to see guys that are actually have a chance.
I hope Paxton Pomykal makes it, but I honestly have no idea what his status is. No,
I
I
don't
have
even
no
know
idea.
he's playing. Is he even healthy?
He's come back, but it's just again I don't know I don't know where he is.
Here's the guy you're talking about defense. Okay, I see it coming.
After Paxton Pomykal, Miles Robinson. Yeah, that would be the guy. I want to see him play.
A better passer than Cameron Carter-Vickers. Better passer than Kessler.
I think he's a better athlete than both those guys. And
I'm not sure he's a better defender than Kessler.
No, that might not.
I think positionally Kessler is very strong.
I think you're underrating his defending, but that's okay. I mean, we have to see them at this level, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Robbie Robinson who is a surprise for me to be on this list.
Liked what I've seen from Miami, but Miami's just a dumpster fire right now, so I don't know if he's good or not. I can't. And plus, something weird happened last season where he's #1 draft pick, and just They didn't seem to trust him. Didn't seem to get the minute. I don't know.
Well, they
what
didn't know what
there.
they were doing. They, like you said, they were just a dumpster fire. They just like
I think
pure
he's still.
chaos.
I think he's still a project player. And
By the
I don't
way,
think he's quite there yet.
I think good old Phil is starting to move up the list of potential MLS coaching firings. I mean, that team
You
is
think it's his
such a
fault?
mess. No, but I think he could be the fall guy, considering how everything's gone sideways
I know, it seems
again.
like Pizarro wants out now too. I don't know.
Do you think that Jorge Mas is like, yeah, this is totally cool, David, that you brought in your boy and we suck? You think that he's cool with that? Because I don't think he's cool with that.
I think David should go, hey, Moss, remember how you hired that GM that tanked the team? Like,
Sure. I bet you there's some shared responsibility there. Memo Rodriguez is on this list. He's a nice player. I don't know that he's at this level, but he's a nice player.
I don't think any Houston player is ready for
Okay.
this
All right.
team.
Christian Roldan, who you don't like, but who I think has been immense in MLS this year.
Yeah, listen,
Before?
Seattle's the top team in the league. Christian Rodan is captaining them most of the time, with Lodero out. I think he's a leader if this team was to be put on the Gold Cup, but I think he's
All right, we're
gonna be
going
there.
rapid fire here. James Sands, hope to see him. Don't know.
Not
but-
quite yet.
Okay, fine. Hassani Dotson.
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet for Jerry. Okay. Tanner Tessman,
Like Tanner Tessman.
but probably not. I don't
not.
think so. Yeah. Mason Toy. That's another
Like
I don't
Mason
think
Toy?
so.
Don't think so.
Yeah. Austin Trusty, another one. I don't think so. Sam Vines. We're 100% on Sam Vines, right?
But you skip
I
Matt
missed-
Turner.
I skip Matt Turner. Matt Turner's 100% as well.
Yep.
And I think he's probably going to be the
Eric
starter.
Williamson. Now, Eric Williamson,
I'd
I
love-
want to see.
I love some Eric Williamson.
If
but
I
I
had
don't
to
know.
choose between Flack and Eric Williamson, I'm taking Williamson.
Oh, you want to start a Philly Portland war? Okay, sure. We can do that.
Which one are you
Why
taking
not?
between those two?
Eric Williamson. But let's just move on quickly. Jackson Ewell. I think he's going to,
He might captain the team.
You think so?
He might.
Okay, that's interesting.
Berhalter likes him. It's not whether or not I do. It's Berhalter likes him.
Jossie Zardes has to be in it, right?
Has to be. Has to be.
But you can't take Josie and Jossie. You're taking one of those players, not both. And somebody said earlier, with the vibe of this group, and I know not everyone will be here. This is not Pulisic and McKennie and Adams. But if you're trying to continue that vibe into the Gold Cup, you don't take Josie. As much as I respect Josie and what he's done for the national team, I think that ship has sailed. I think it's time to go.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about Josie Altidore right now. I have no idea what's going on.
I love Josie out there
Me
8
too.
years ago. Love that guy. I mean,
And I still think that some of his skill set is possibly useful to the men's national team, especially at the end of games when you need to hold the ball and need to see out a game. I just don't know if he's healthy. I don't know where his head's at. I don't know where his conditioning is at. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. And Walker Zimmerman was the last one. We're 100% on Walker Zimmerman.
I think we said yes to 40 of the 60. So who knows?
Something like that. Yeah. Berhalter's going to have to figure this out. Yeah. Very, very strange. Okay. The new jerseys, we have not mentioned them once. Now, only the women have worn them, meaning that the men have not had a chance to wear them yet. But the women wore them well.
U.S. national team, because there's a
The
few
US
things
men's-
going on right now.
The U.S. soccer jerseys, both the men and the women are going to wear. I think they've been called the Dazzle kits because it's like it kind of looks like this weird camouflage they used in the World War I or something. Dazzle, razzle, dazzle, razzle, dazzle, or something like that.
Okay.
What do you think?
I like them, but I wouldn't wear them. I think that's where I kind of landed on it.
I think they do feel like a one that looks good on the field, but
I can't
isn't
see myself
wearable.
wearing that to the mall.
Sure.
It's
I
interesting.
will wear pretty much anything, and I don't know that I would want to pull that off. That's not appropriate. That's just you can't say things like that. And I am not. It's not like that. I have firm and meaningful relationships with everyone who sends me a
You're
jersey.
saying every jersey you've ever gotten for free that you've worn, you've liked.
I'm saying that every jersey that has been sent to me by somebody, I had a meaningful interaction with the person who sent it to me. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you owe them.
We connected. We made eye contact.
Oh.
Do the people like you described? Do they make eye contact?
A meet cute.
It actually kind of falls into
You guys bumped into each other and a jersey fell out onto the streets of New York and it was a shared moment and now it's yours.
Right. Well, there was a mix up of the packages, right? That they got my jersey and I had to like track them down to find
They had
the
your
jersey.
diapers.
I was going to say this falls in the same category as a lot of national team jerseys, which are they look good on the field, but they're really not wearable. I don't think the Bomb Pop's all that wearable. I have one. I don't think the Waldo is very wearable. I have one. Like, I don't know.
It's tough because with national team World, and this is the official one for the World Cup, all the way through qualifying in the World Cup, or are they going to change again?
I think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be the World Cup jersey, but I think it's gonna carry us through most of the next.
I hope not, because that World Cup one, you want to rock that one at the World Cup. You want to rock. It needs to be wearable, and I always go back to the French ones, like 6 years ago.
Have you seen somebody who doesn't have 3% body fat wearing this jersey yet? Because you can't make a judgment until you've seen it on somebody normal.
That's most jerseys these days, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you've seen it on a normal person, because then you can make a judgment. If you haven't seen it on a normal person,
I have not seen it on a normal person.
Then you're just guessing, right?
I have a feeling a lot of the people that are put behind these are not the shape of a normal person. You know, like there's going to be a lot of bigger people, and like I think that's where that's Nike what I mean fails by normal. Oftentimes when they
hold on. What I mean by normal is that people who do not look like Christian Pulisic are going to be wearing it. If you haven't seen that yet, I understand you don't think it's going to look good, but that's just a presumption on your part. You don't actually know yet.
And here's the thing: I can't speak for. I'm not obese. I carry a few pounds. I got dad bod, but I can say this: you want a jersey that draws more attention to you, and that's what this jersey is going to do. I don't think they do say.
Look, they do say that the vertical stripes tend to slim you out, and these are kind of vertical. They're like mismatched, but they're vertical-ish. Yeah, but they're vertical-ish, as opposed to the Waldo. The Waldo has the horizontal stripes, and you're like, oh, this tiny bit of extra love handle I have looks like...
I'm just saying that the Old Dad FC apron jersey is going to look a lot better on the average man.
All right, so that's something.
I'm excited to look at it. I want to see what we're going to have two kits, I'm sure. This is the away? Away? White home?
I never know. Who cares? What does it matter?
Home away. There's probably another one, right? There's probably another one, because we're not going to have just one look.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's like dark and then light, right? That's always what it is. It's not... Yeah. So in addition, we teased this earlier. We should mention it here. Chicago Fire dropped officially their new logo, and everybody thinks we've seen the new Revs logo, but they haven't dropped it officially, right?
Yeah. So I think that one's a rumored one. It kind of, for me, if you haven't seen the Revs one, obviously look it up so you know what we're talking about. Kind of a cursive R in a floral kind of crest. To me, it looks a lot like the Rangers.
It does. It has a Glasgow Rangers vibe to it. It's not exactly their logo, but it has.
I like it though. I think it's better than what they're rocking right now, which is very kind of Dawson's Creek's bedroom, 1996. You know, so
but that's yes, okay, fine, yes, go ahead.
I think there's a lot of logos that need updating, and I think the Revs is one. If this is what they go with, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I think they could have got a little more colonial kind of feel to it than what they did.
I think that's what they're trying to go for.
How's there no musket or anything? That's what they're kind of known for, is the musket.
Yeah,
and stuff
they could have done like a Fall River kind of thing, like our boys at
a little bit of a miss there. Did. It's not a Chicago Fire miss, you
know. No, it's not. I would say that it looks less sort of generic modern than a lot of the logos that we've seen recently. So,
and I think the generic is the key word there. Like, it doesn't really scream New England in any way. I think that's part of the problem.
No. I'm saying that while, yes, you may have to like make a jump to this whole New England vibe, although I kind of see like a, industrial revolution kind of vibe to it. To me, it does feel like that. What I'm saying is that there are a lot of new logos that come out that are very flat, very, I don't know what the word is. They look like just a bunch of geometric shapes jammed together and then a letter on top, right? So that's, to me, that's a miss. If in terms of creating an actual personality, I think this one will create a personality. I'm not saying I love it. I'm not saying it's a home run. I will say that it was hilarious the way that it leaked out, because I was actually tipped off by somebody who will go nameless that it was out there. That same person tipped off Bob Williams, who writes, I think, for sportsbusiness.com or something, and he kind of does some of this stuff. He leaked it before I was comfortable doing so. I wasn't going to just drop it on Twitter, but I was like, oh yeah, that guy sent me the same thing. And then we found out that the designer's website was not properly password protected, so
all you had to go was a different index, like you could get to it.
Yeah.
So, but here's the big thing. I have a question I have about the Revs logo, and this is what we've learned from Chicago and the Columbus Crew.
Okay, I have a different thing to go with, but go ahead. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Is that you need to fan source feedback. Source feedback. Every problem that Chicago and Columbus have made for themselves could have been avoided if they had fan sourced feedback.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, and I don't know if the Revs has gone that route, and if it's too early, maybe they still are. That's great. they're good, a decent starting point. Whether that's the finished product, I don't know. But that's what every team needs to get from this process over the last year of these two major failures at these two clubs.
I think a lot of teams think, oh, we can't have leaks. No one can know what we're doing until it's official. And it's like, no, you're going to screw it up if you do that. And,
Columbus had leaked it.
Most people are scared of NDAs, right? And by the way, Columbus, their whole thing was there was a report created by the fans who said, you do not want to do this. This is a bad idea back in January. Apparently, Tim Bezbatinko never saw it, which sounds insane to me.
Yeah.
But that's why what happened there. The Revs have not made anything official. The thing about the Revs logo, before we get to the Fire logo, the thing about the Revs logo that is I have not really, I've been off for a week. I haven't really been paying that close attention to the boards or whatever. But when you, what usually, how many times in the past when MLS team has dropped a new brand, Jared, has something major happened, right? Something huge comes down the pipe, right? So let's think, okay, Sporting Kansas City. When did they announce their new logo, their new branding?
When they moved stadiums, right? They had a new stadium.
When they had their new stadium coming on board. The LA Galaxy, who didn't change their name, but did change their logo, did change their colors. What was happening around the time that they did said thing?
The British invasion.
A guy with weird blonde hair and a bunch of tattoos showed up to take over.
Him and Chris Birchall. British invasion.
I don't think it's a David Beckham move. Is it possible? Can we imagine, dream of a day when this logo is somehow connected to the New England Revolution announcing a stadium deal? Do you think
I thought you were going to say a big player. Like, there's no way they're paying for a big player.
No, they might, but not Beckham level for sure.
I mean, the only thing that could be connected with a big move in New England is Bob Kraft's funeral. Like, that's the only thing that's going to change something. That dude ain't going to open up his pocket. That dude's got the rustiest hinges on his pocketbook ever when it comes to soccer. There's no way he's taking him out of that stadium.
Hold on. I think it's more complicated than that. I'm not going to let them off the hook. I think they have botched it a billion times over the last 25 years. But I'm not. But building something in a place like Boston is really hard. Okay, and you only get one chance to do it.
It's New England. It's New England. It doesn't have to be in Boston.
No, it does have to be.
If any team that has the open source to go outside and go, like, they could go to Connecticut.
But you don't want to be FC Dallas or Colorado or Bridgeview, where the Fire were like, nope, we can't do this. It's too far away.
They're calling themselves Dallas. That's the problem. And they're calling themselves Chicago.
But
they're called New England.
It's still about the location. I know they play in Foxborough now, and that's obviously tied to the Patriots, and people will go to Foxborough for Patriots games. It's not the same. And the Revs get decent crowds. I'm not going to hate on the Revs crowds. But if you really want to capture the energy of what that team should be, it needs to be in Boston. Okay? Now, Robert says if they were opening a new stadium, we would know it, or whatever. And there's Oliver with an inappropriate joke about Robert Kraft. Robert?
Is it inappropriate? Is it inappropriate? Yeah. You're right. It is inappropriate. It should have said masseuses.
All right. The Chicago Fire logo, Jared, after they screwed it up a year and a half ago, this one now drops. It is a Matt Wolf production, which I am a big fan.
They call it the Wolf.
He knows what he's doing. Look, I don't think this doesn't go out of the box, right? This is pretty much inside the box, but it's inside the box in a really good way.
The only thing that I have an issue with is that it really pulls from the Red Stars kind of look, which is a Chicago look. It's a Chicago.
Yes, somebody said that
Red Stars nailed it so well that it's hard for Chicago Fire to even kind of take that at all, because Red Stars really, really did a good job with it.
They could have avoided the the exact same color scheme. They could have done.
But if it sells. Right? It sells, it's better than what they have right there, man. Like,
it's a huge step forward. Yes.
Listen, I appreciate what Chicago did. They tapped the left arm. They called in the Wolf from the bullpen. They brought him in and said, "Hey, I need you as a save. We need a save."
No, you call the Wolf, and he comes and he cleans up and he tells you exactly what you need to do.
Yeah, you got to get the brains out of the back seat. That's what you got to do.
Brains out of the back seat. Exactly. Yes.
And the guy did it, man. The guy cleaned it up. He did a good job. He had to drop. They had to drop money. Because Wolf's busy. We've had this. You and I have had a conversation. We know that.
I think he's been working on it for a while. Morgan's pointing out that these are Chicago colors. These are the colors of the flag. Yes, 100% true. But not every team leans into the same colors.
Cubs don't have it.
No,
White Sox Bears don't have it. Bears don't have it.
No.
Bulls don't have it. Blackhawks don't have it. You know who has it? The Red Stars.
The Red Stars have it.
So they picked up on that theme and really did a good job with it. Yes, it's the flag colors of is it Chicago City or is it the Illinois flag? I'm not sure.
No, it's the flag of Chicago. This is the city of Chicago. Yeah.
But they nailed it. And I get that they're borrowing from it, but from soccer to soccer, it feels a little incestuous, but it still is a good hit.
You know, I also had somebody say, hey, why do all these Midwestern teams have to put a C on their logo? And I was like, yeah, you're right. They should name it Chicago with an S. They should change the name to Cleveland and to Cincinnati and to
try to go by. They could have gone
Columbus.
Shy. They could have gone Shy. CHI, you know.
They could have done something like that.
You could have done 7C. You could have done an F for fire.
I'm just looking at these two logos next to each other. The screwed up, terrible, whatever the hell they were trying to do.
Our Alpine REI thing.
Yeah, the Space Invaders logo and the new one. It's night and day. It's like, how did you even get to that first thing?
Dude, the people that make decisions, the people that sign off on creative decisions in the world are the least creative people out there. It's the same people that ruin TV shows with notes.
You know what I love about this too? It does it now. I'm assuming this is the official one. It's just, and now it's in a roundel. Everybody's bitching about how every logo is a circle now. I do think there's that. But it doesn't say Chicago Fire. It doesn't say Chicago. It doesn't say Fire. It's just.
It makes it easy to, if you
just
don't know
what
Chicago, but that's a good thing.
That's what I'm saying.
If you're a Chicago sports fan buying a hat tomorrow, you are going to buy that hat even if you don't know what the Fire are, because guess what? A C in a circle looks really good on a hat.
It's dope. This is going to be, I don't think it's going to be quite on the same level, but if they do it right, it can be to Chicago, just like the Red Star stuff is. And
it's what LAFC did right with their LA logo.
Saying. That's what I was about to say. Is LAFC found a way to connect to the identity
My
of the city.
kid's school has a ton of kids wearing LAFC jerseys, and they can't name a player on the team.
Don't know one guy. Don't know one player on the team. All right, I got to mention that Carmen de la Fuente is apparently going to Marseille, which is an interesting move.
I thought it was Lille.
Oh, is it? No, it's not Lille.
It's Marseille.
No. I'm pretty sure it's Marseille. Man, why do you do this to me?
Someone in the Slack said Lille today. I'm sorry.
Somebody in the Slack. It's Marseille. Yeah. I'm correct.
I'm just saying. I apologize. I've been out in the high Sierras for a week. I've been in the high Sierras for a week. Okay, I come back. Someone in the Slack said Lille, and I thought they were right. I apologize.
It's Marseille. Which could be a good move for him. He obviously needs playing time. The last thing I want to bring up is this weekend was the final game at historic Cruel. I love that we're calling something 23 years old historic, Jared. Historic Crew Stadium closed down this weekend with the 2-0 victory.
You mean map free?
Appropriately a 2-0 for the Crew going out the door. I mean, you and I spent some time together in that stadium back in 2013.
Yeah.
Watching the United States beat Mexico. Landon Donovan's final goal.
Missed a PK like a boss.
Landon Donovan scored. Clint Dempsey missed a penalty kick. It was otherwise a wonderful experience. Well, our other experience wasn't good, but the game itself was wonderful. I should mention, with the closing of Crew Stadium, the opening of Lower.com Stadium. We'll adjust it today.
Say that again?
Lower.com Stadium. Lower.com.
Why would you name anything lower? You don't want to be. That's the opposite of sports.
Field. Lower.com.
That's the opposite of sport. Okay, you're going out there. I'm not going to talk too much about it.
Yeah, I'm going to Columbus for the opener. I'm very excited. I get to go see the first game of the brand new building. And I'm not from Columbus. I'm not a Crew fan. I'm a guy who has a radio show who feels like I did something and helped a little bit. Yeah, I do. I talked a lot about Save the Crew on that show. Hence, wanting to be there for the opening of the new stadium.
Listen, they nailed the ending of that stadium, though. Did you see the video footage on the field of them singing, is it Elvis song or Righteous Brothers song? I always forget. It's Elvis song, right?
Which song is it?
I Can't Help Falling in Love with You.
I thought it was a Righteous Brothers song.
That's what I thought, too.
But Elvis did it as well,
too.
Elvis did a version, but I'm pretty sure
I thought it was Righteous Brothers, too, but I didn't want to make sure I say the right thing.
No, now I'm hearing Elvis in my head. I don't know, man.
I'm hearing Elvis, but for some reason I think it's Righteous Brothers.
Yeah. Okay. Either way.
But listen, fantastic send off from that team. I love watching. I reposted to Instagram for people who don't even know about soccer, just because I wanted to share that community experience. It's a historic, like you said, it's a historic place whose time is now capped. I mean, the U.S. is not going to go back and play in that stadium again. Now, mainly because I think our time for needing it is past, but it's a huge part of the American soccer story. I don't think is there another stadium anywhere in America that is more connected with U.S. soccer?
RFK maybe, but that's dead too. So
I don't think so, though, dude. I mean, maybe if you're talking about club soccer. I'm talking about U.S. soccer.
No. RFK has hosted a bunch of games. The Charlie Davies game after he got hurt, the win over Costa Rica. They played Gold Cup matches. There were World Cup matches in that building. I don't sleep on RFK, but I do agree that for the U.S. men's national team and significant moments, particularly against Mexico, you can't fade historic Crew Stadium. Like, you just can't.
Yeah, Rose Bowl's in there for some World Cup stuff, but that's not necessarily the U.S. We lost to Mexico in 2011 Gold Cup. How's that feel in the Rose Bowl?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the losses matter too. I will say I forgot about this. We're not going to have any time to talk about MLS. All right, so things are back, started again. We'll try to catch up.
Baby. Oh baby.
Yes, I want to hand out an oh baby. Jacob Glesnes has a rocket attached to his foot, or a howitzer.
I don't know what. 2 in 1 year.
Those things are insane. How hard he hit that ball. Did you see it? It hit the crossbar 3 times.
Dude was playing Pong in the goal.
How much kinetic energy did that ball have to hit the crossbar?
It looked like the puck when you play air hockey. Like pop, 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 pop.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. It was insane. Brad Guzan was like doing one of these, like a cartoon character. Like,
is it in? Is it out? Is it in? Is it out?
Yeah, amazing stuff from Jacob Glesnes. There may be other players who deserve oh babies this week. We're not going to get to them. We'll also maybe touch on MLS 3, MLS 2. What's it called? MLS?
I don't know. Does it have a name?
I don't think they just announced that they're doing it after the report.
You can't call it 3 because you don't have a 2, but it's the 3rd division. So you can't call it 3, but you can't call it 2. Like I don't know. MLS also. Or how about lower MLS?
How about MLS?
Stay on brand.
MLS 2 TOO. MLS 2.
We're MLS 2.
Look who's talking 2.
I think you just. No? I think you have to ditch the MLS. I know they want continuity, but it's not major league if it's the 3rd division. You don't call the 3rd division in English soccer.
Are you
also Premiership?
You're getting wrapped up in the semantics of the word major here. I mean, does American soccer care about stuff like that? Have we ever cared about stuff like that? Have we ever been
enough to call our league that
consistent with all of this? I mean, the USL was like, oh, we could certainly call this, USL 1 and USL 2 be more American, but no, we must call it. And I apologize to Nicholas, who's watching the show and listening and works for the USL, and Morgan as well. USL Championship, USL League 1, just completely throwing us all off, right? Like the English champion. How many times have I had that conversation with somebody? It's like, so the 2nd division in England, what's that called? Oh, that's the championship. What's the 3rd division called? That's League 1. Wait, what?
Yeah,
makes no sense.
We don't want to go down the same path though and have MLS 2 be the 3rd division. That don't make sense.
I don't know what they're going to do. There's no name yet.
Just call it MLS 3rd division. That solves the problem.
Okay. That's going to do it for us. Please make sure you check out the Patreon. We're going to do some bonus stuff tonight. We'll probably talk Ted Lasso because we're very geeked up about that. Also, that's patreon.com/The Best Soccer Show. You notice that things are a little different when Nicky Soup and Salad isn't around. We need him back. Help us kick some money his way for his work on the show by supporting us at the Patreon. I did not pull up rating. I didn't pull up ratings and reviews, Jared. Should we skip it this week and wait for Jared?
Yeah, we definitely can. And also, the Patreon's really fun right now with the Euros going on. A lot of people, Euro talk and stuff like that in the chat room. So
there's now a Besties travel on the Slack.
I saw that for people talking like U.S. soccer, people traveling to away games. I think there talks about Guatemala or El Salvador.
Oh yeah, and I want to thank the Besties. Although this is specifically for one bestie in particular, and I don't want to play favorites, Jared. I don't want to.
But people who send us jerseys,
I don't want to play favorites. But I do have a bestie hooking me up with some beer. I can't get here for my neighbor who did me a solid. So I'm getting hooked up through the Besties beer channels.
I appreciate Freddie though. Like while I was in the High Sierras, knew I wanted to be on the Seltzer Bestie beer night, and so put me in on it, even though I didn't say I was. So I appreciate Freddie getting her back. So what's it? All sorts of stuff going over there. There's beer nights. There's away game travel stuff going on. There's That's My Jam, where it's just talking about music, and that's the part you and I probably communicate in from time to time as well, and add our soundtrack.
There's lots of stuff going on. Anyway, that's the Patreon. Again, ratings and reviews help us out. Make sure you subscribe, like wherever. Like even if you don't listen to the show live, go subscribe to the YouTube channel, and maybe you'll catch one. If you if you listen to the YouTube show and don't download the podcast, please subscribe to the podcast anyway and just help us out. And we're, obviously we got Gold Cup coming. There's going to be some scheduling stuff there, obviously through the summer, but World Cup qualifying is like rapidly approaching. It's September is like here basically. So
I think both of us have our vacations done by then. So we have a few things in that can disrupt the Gold Cup slightly, but we should be ready to go by World Cup qualifying.
Yep, there it is. All right, this is an extra long bonus episode for everybody. I want to thank everybody for listening tonight, and tell you what, we'll be back next week, right? We're back at it next week, Sunday night. Sunday.
I'll be there.
Okay.